Hello, and welcome to Chad and Wess Ruin a Movie. If you'd like to contact us, you can get us at chadandwess@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, you can also follow us on SoundCloud or subscribe on iTunes and leave us a review. If you'd like more information, go to chadandwess.com.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chad and Wess Ruin a Movie. This is Wes.
And this is Chad.
How goes it, Chadwick?
Oh, well, I've been better. That probably has mostly to do with what we have to talk about today.
Well, maybe we'll align.
Yeah, we just might. Hey, this will be like twice.
Yeah, we'll find something to shake it up. Maybe Ninja Turtles.
So, I bet we're going to agree on that too. I'm not hopeful.
Unfortunately.
So, obviously, spoiler alert, if this is your first time ever seeing one of our things, we are definitely going to talk about things that would ruin this movie more than just watching it.
And in case you didn't read the title, we're talking about X-Men Apocalypse.
That is true. The apocalypse of the X-Men franchise.
You know what?
Bring it.
Totally fine. Marvel's just sitting back going, good.
Well, this is like the dilemma that was inside of me before I saw this movie. It's like, I want it to be good because I love X-Men and I love Marvel. I want it to be bad because I want X-Men to go into the fold with the MCU.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't think this is the death nail, but I think this is moving them down that path.
Yeah, I'm sure it will raise questions. So we're
We're
around it.
We're already talking about our first bit.
We're foreplaying with what's going to happen. So let's dive right in.
Anyway, yes.
Yep.
Why don't you tell me what your rating for this movie is, if that's what you're getting at?
I wasn't starting to get a rating, but I was thinking about it on the way over here, and I think the absolute highest I could give it would maybe be 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But maybe 5 out of 10, I'm thinking, about 50%. Because when I think about it, and I thought about this a lot during the movie,
We're not paying attention to the movie. I had plenty of time to think about it.
Yeah, well, the movie unfortunately made me not pay attention to it that much. But I went back and forth, and there were some things that I really liked, and there were a couple of things that I really liked. Other things I'm like, okay, this is fine. But overall, the rest of it, I was like, okay, I'm not super interested in what's going on. I felt one of my biggest problems with the movie is I felt like the tone could not find its center. It couldn't figure out whether it wanted to be a super serious, dark, apocalyptic movie, or if it was going to be a moderately bright superhero movie, or in some points, almost a comedy.
Yeah.
Those were the three things that I felt most with it, and it just felt a little all over the place to me.
I agree with that. It's funny because in a pre-MCU world, this movie would have been like awesome.
Oh yeah,
like, I would have been like,
"This is the best we're getting, Chad. Let's just enjoy it."
I would have been all over this, and I totally would have had a higher rating for it. But being that I have been spoiled with such great comic book movies,
and the last movie that we saw was Civil War,
and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, all that to say, oh man. I think to just be fair and to like try to remove myself from just going through watching this movie, probably I'm about where you are. I mean, I want to say 6 out of 10.
You want to, but you can't.
I know. Well, it's hard for me to say because I mean I've only seen it once and I've seen these other movies so many times and I am biased because I love X-Men. Like of all the Marvel stuff,
Yep.
X-Men is my jam and. Like, we got a chance to see some cool stuff in this movie, but, man, the movie was weak.
We got to see some new things, which is great. We got to see some old things done better.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to see some old things not done better. So it's,
like
I said, that 50% place, like there are some things I'm like, oh my God, why did they do that? And then there are other things I'm like, okay, great. I'm totally fine with that.
Well, like, I also think about, like, okay, let's think about the movies that were definitely worse than this out there in the comic book genre.
Yeah.
Right? It's no Fantastic Four.
Yeah. No, it is not.
You know?
If it was going for it, it missed it.
Yeah.
Funny enough, one of the guys who was executive producer on Fantastic Four is also in charge of this movie. So it's like the Fox
He left his
guy.
stinky handprints on it.
Yeah, we could tell he was involved in this movie. And I'm sure he's done great things before, but just not this one.
And not a comic book movie, apparently.
It was better, in my opinion, than the third X-Men movie.
Which was a funny reference in this movie.
It's funny. I think they were intentionally trying to reference X-Men 3, which Bryan Singer did not do. He did 1 and 2 and then left, and I think Brett Ratner did 3. And so it got a bad rap. Well, then Matthew Vaughn did First Class, and then Bryan Singer came back for Days of Future Past, and so this is his 4th movie. And so he made the joke of...
We know the third's always the worst.
The third's always the worst, which is true. However, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because this is now the 3rd movie in this little trilogy.
Right.
So it's like, be careful what you say there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So...
Self-deprecating, unbeknownst to them.
Yeah. I'm sure... We will probably not be the only ones to catch that and be like, be careful what you say.
Yeah.
And people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks.
Right. So, I mean, let's say, what was your favorite new characters? Who was the new person to the lineup? Whether it's a new actor in a role, like Nightcrawler is someone we've seen before, but this is a different actor.
Yep.
Or just a brand new character. Who's your favorite?
I think Jean Grey is probably going to be my favorite. I like her character, and I will say I am pretty far removed from X-Men. Most of my knowledge about the X-Men comes from a cartoon from the 90s.
Sure.
Which is great. There's an honest trailer out there for it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah, that was good.
It's good. But I like Sophie Turner. The only thing we've seen her in, or at least that I've seen her in before, has been Game of Thrones, which I think she's great in.
Sure.
And so it was cool to be able to see her do something else. And going into it, my thought was, can I see her being a different character, or am I just going to see Sansa Stark the whole time? And for me, I was able to separate the two characters.
Sure. I think she did a good job.
I thought she did a good job. She did decent with her American accent. There were a couple times where I don't know if it was just weird to my ear seeing her and hearing her speak in American accent, but I thought she did fine with that. And I liked her character, and I would be interested to see more movies with her character.
Interesting. Now, of course, I have to answer my own question, and I'm like, I have no idea.
oh, it's my turn.
Crap. I was like, I should have thought about this.
There's only 2 of us. If I go first, you have to go second. There we go. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, man. Like, I don't know, like, if... I liked... Actually, I'd go with the same one, because I really did like her in it.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. Nightcrawler, I think, missed the mark for me.
Yeah.
He was apparently going to be the comic relief in this movie, and he wasn't funny.
Yeah,
you could tell they really wanted him to be funny.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to try. Yeah, I preferred the other Nightcrawler from X-Men 2.
But of course, I mean, this is a different time period, so he's younger. Like,
yeah,
I understand them being a different actor.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't expect them to cast him the same way.
I just don't. I don't think they did a good job probably directing him. I don't know about the casting. The casting was probably fine. It's just I feel like they wanted. Oh, we're gonna make him the comic relief, and it missed the mark. So Jean Grey. I'm trying to think who else.
So you had
was major.
Scott Summers.
Scott Summers.
He was fine.
Yeah, I mean he's always kind of a whiny bitch of a character,
yeah.
And so I don't know that I care for him in general all that much. So I didn't care for his character in this that much either. So yeah, who else is new?
We had Storm.
A new person playing Storm, right?
Yeah.
She was not featured nearly as much as I thought she was going to be.
Oh, no.
And like they really played it up like she was going to be a major part of this movie. And it was like, oh, that's all you're doing?
Well, I heard somebody mentioning it as we were leaving the theater, but spoilers, Jubilee is like maybe has 1 line in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 lines. But
and those guys were all like bummed that she wasn't. I was like, I don't give a shit about Jubilee.
Yeah. The only reason I was interested is, are they going to make her as lame as she's been before? Or are they going to be like, you know what? We've got an awesome Jubilee. Her fireworks actually hurt people.
Well, I mean, the Jubilee eventually in the comic books gets really powerful.
But it's funny because I remember one of the few cartoons that I remember with her in it is the episode with Apocalypse, and she's like shooting her little fireworks at him and like getting him right in the face, and he's like, okay, like what are you doing? Why are you here?
Apocalypse was pretty legit.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, maybe I think he did a good job. I think they did a good job making him a very believable and menacing villain.
Yeah. I think it was well cast. Oscar Isaac is great. We've seen him.
You mean Poe?
Poe. Well, see, that's funny. After seeing Ex Machina, I don't think of him as just Poe.
Yeah, I know. He was great in Ex Machina.
Yeah, he was really good.
Didn't I watch that first and tell you, like, you got to watch this?
Yeah, you saw it before I did. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it. I'll get around to it. And then when
legit.
I saw it, I was like, oh my God.
It's amazing.
I need to watch it again now. Yeah, I thought that was great casting.
For reasons. Oh, God.
I hit that.
I always do that.
Every time. There are a couple of different things that I would have done with him, but luckily they listened to a little bit of fan feedback from the first images that came out with him. He was not purple.
You know what's interesting about that? There was a scene when Olivia Munn had her sword, her whatever sword, in his face,
Yeah.
and he was glowing purple or more that color that like I remember from that first image, and I was like, I wonder if that image was from this scene, like, and like the lighting just was catching him like this, because this looks like that bad color that we first saw.
Yeah.
I was like, this, I bet that's what we saw was like, this was from that scene, that lighting was in place, so that's what caught, you know, in that picture. Anyway, it's just a thought. I can't imagine that they like completely redid everything.
Yeah. They probably didn't. I wish they would have done a little bit more with his voice. He was a little plain voice for most of the movie, and I liked it. He would start to get upset, and you would hear almost like two different voices talking at the same time.
Yeah.
And the louder he got, and the more powerful he got, the more presence it had. So I wish it would have had that a little bit more throughout the entire film.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same intensity the whole time, but just a little bit more. And I wish he would have been able to grow, not just in the dream world that he was in when he's fighting Charles, but also in real life or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like the problem with having such an all-powerful villain, all-powerful character, is how do you actually beat him? How do you make that shit believable? Because you know what? No matter what all you people are doing to him right now, why doesn't he just make you all fall through the floor like he does everybody else,
Yeah.
and then you get all swallowed up? Maybe there's a couple of you that can fly that can't do that, but you know what? That takes care of half the people that are shooting beams at him and shit.
That's true.
So
let's talk about that a little bit, because there's a couple things with the end fight there that I wanted to talk about. So one, you bring up a good point, and as we get ready for Infinity War, where presumably the Avengers are going to be fighting an all-powerful villain that has, you know, all the Infinity Stones, it's interesting to see this, you know, who is another type of all-powerful character, because as we got closer to the end, I was like, you know, this guy can do just about anything. He's not warping reality, but when it comes to matter and anything around him, he's able to, you know, mutate it. So I was interested to see how are they going to fight him? Is it just going to be punchy? You know, it's like, oh, my face hurts.
yeah.
But
Well, I thought, dude, like, I have some problems with some of the things they did with Quicksilver, but that scene where he was kicking Apocalypse's ass, I was
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
yeah, because it came out of nowhere. Like, you wouldn't have thought that Quicksilver would have been the one to get in the licks on Apocalypse.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah, but it's cool. It would make sense that if he moves that fast, he would be able to get in a few hits before Apocalypse would trigger a power, which is basically what happened.
Right.
The whole time he's hitting him, he's getting closer and closer to using a power until finally he's able to get one off.
Right. Get one off.
God, I know I shouldn't have said that. So, with the fight, so one of the things I liked is I'm super excited to see a legit Phoenix.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way, Phoenix is
Well,
in this.
no, we've already said spoilers,
I know,
but
I'm
yeah,
just
like they alluded to it from the beginning, like talking about like this power that's hidden in her and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like, oh, are they really gonna go into that? Or are they setting up like their next planned movie?
Yeah.
And it's like, nope. At the end, she gets the whole Phoenix Force like looking thing around her.
Which was awesome, because we thought we were going to get that. After X-Men 2, we thought we were going to get a good Phoenix story.
And we didn't.
And we didn't. And we got some kind of bullcrap where Jean just sits around in the woods and mopes the whole time. But, so I was cool, because even
You were cool?
we're all cool.
Everybody love everybody.
Everybody cool. So when, you know, and in X-Men 3, when she finally got to show her powers, it was not very Phoenixy. Like, there were never flames or things like that.
Right.
So this, like, it was obvious what they were doing. So I'm very interested to see if they would continue these movies, and if they will continue to explore hers, and maybe she starts to let loose their powers a little bit more. Whereas, you know, this movie she did it once, next movie she maybe just a little bit more, but starts to feel a little bit of darkness, and then maybe the third one is a good Dark Phoenix story.
Right.
But the thing that got me is that with Apocalypse, so they end up kind of trapping him, and, you know, they're shooting metal into him and to hold him down and things like that, and then she basically just blows him away with the Phoenix Force. But
and he's all things are revealed or something, whatever he said there at the end.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's like, there's the power that I want. That's what I'm assuming he was talking about. But like they show him like layers of his body are like falling away, his skin and then his tissue and his muscles and all that kind of stuff. But they never did show him after he was destroyed. because I feel like they showed him like in the process of being destroyed, and then they stopped showing him, and then they were like, okay, well, he's gone. But
did he survive? Is the question.
If the last power that he took was a mutant like Wolverine that can replicate himself and not be hurt,
healing factor.
Yeah, then I mean, it would make sense that after, granted some time would have to pass, but maybe his pieces would come back together and he would,
Well, there's two things there. One, Wolverine is one of the, like, he and Deadpool, my understanding is, have one of the best healing factors. Like, they can come back from like a single, like, molecule or something like that. They can come back from that. Most healing factors don't work that way. Like, they'll heal themselves from pretty grievous wounds, but they don't come back from like almost complete annihilation. Now, maybe one of his things is he can amplify any power, and unlock its true potential. You could say, oh, well, unless they absolutely decimated every single molecule of him, he could be back.
Right.
And, of course, it's a comic book movie. Comic books like to switch things on you.
Yeah. And they could also be doing one of those things where...
they like to switch things on you. For our viewing audience, they know what I'm talking about. Good old Hydra cap.
That's for another time. We don't have time for that, Chad.
Hashtag we are all Hydra.
We are all Hydra.
Trend, make it trend.
But
all three of you.
Yep.
Five.
At least four, maybe.
Five,
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's some people. But, and maybe it's one of those things where they're going to kind of see how the movie does and see, okay, is he a villain that we want to bring back? See what the reception is. Because then they could be like, well, he's dead and we're not bringing him back. Or then in another movie, they could be like, actually, he found his way back.
Yeah.
Especially when he's a mutant that transfers his consciousness into other people. Like, there's always a way for them to possibly explain that.
And that's one of the things is, like, there's so many unanswered questions about his background. It's like, yes, we saw him transfer his consciousness. We know that that's a thing he does, and he transferred into this guy that has a healing factor. So now he has a healing factor. But, like, the question is like, how did he start? Like, what was his first power? Was his first power the ability to transfer and steal someone's power?
Yeah.
Was that it? Or was it I don't know the origin of Apocalypse. And they definitely did not go into that in this movie.
No, they basically gave the origin for this body.
Yeah.
But the explanation they give is that he's been collecting multiple powers.
Right. What's the deal with like the gold top to the pyramid?
Yeah, there was something
and all
special
the stuff
about
comes
that.
down. And isn't he supposed to be like a technomancer or something like that? Like he can like commune with technology or something like that.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that that's kind of what that looked like, because it looked like circuitry when it came down, and he was able to kind of like take control of Cerebro.
Well, he did that, and then he took control of the television.
Mm-hmm.
So they just skirted around that power, but they didn't go into it as much. Because, yeah, you're right. Like, and again, I'm using the cartoon as a point of reference, but I know one of the things there, he did have control over technology.
Right.
And it looks like he is even technological in nature because of like the cables that are going into his, the back of his skull and stuff.
Right.
So I thought they used him very well. I think they could have done more with him. And also, I didn't really understand his plan. Like, was the goal to kill everybody on the Earth?
Get the 4 horsemen.
Yeah.
Build a big tower and pyramid.
Right.
Question mark. Profits. You're talking about the question mark right now.
Yeah, because what he had Magneto doing, which
he was going to destroy most of the planet and say, those that are left, worship me. Basically, I've destroyed all your weapons, I've destroyed all your technology, I've destroyed all your civilization. I am your option. He wanted to be the supreme power again.
Gotcha.
That's what it seemed like. And of course, I mean, anybody bent on world domination and running the world is always kind of a wackadoo in some sense.
Yeah, and I definitely knew that his motivation was being all-powerful and being worshipped and being a god. So I got that part. I just was confused because for some reason I thought that what Magneto was doing and destroying the Earth was going to kill everybody.
Not everybody. I mean,
okay.
I thought that, to me, it was pretty clear that they were saying this is going to kill most people, and it's going to leave some people. And that's like he was telling Charles to like communicate with the entire world. And remember, Charles changed it. He said, "The strongest of you come, and worship me," or something like that. And Charles changed it to, "The strongest of you protect those that are weaker than you."
Yeah.
And it's like, so that showed the difference in the two of them, but it also showed his plan of like, hey, there's going to be some of you that survive. You're the strong. You're the ones I want. You're the chosen ones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I didn't think about putting those pieces together, so that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Magneto.
Trust me, I'm not trying to defend this movie. It was pretty
8 out of 10 now. Keep talking, Chad.
Oh yeah.
So Magneto, I did not. Two things with Magneto. One, the death of his wife and child. No
lame.
emotional impact at all
No.
with the way that they did that. I saw it coming, but there's still 1,000 other ways they could have done it to make it more impactful. Like when it happened, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Like, there's not.
We're in the woods and we don't have metal on.
Yeah, and just like he's like looking at the bird flying around, and the guy like lets go of the arrow,
And it happens to go through both the kid and
an
the
arrow
wife.
that does not have a metal tip on it.
One shot kill on both of them. Like, seriously, so ridiculous.
How long has he been carrying around that power up?
Well, and then he grabs the thing and like, oh look, what a convenient piece of metal. Squank.
Not to mention the wedding ring that he had on that has metal in it that he was wearing, and I'm sure that some of his clothes or her clothes had metal on it. Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
No metal.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen how clothes are made?
But back then, man, in the 80s, they didn't have that much metal.
But so, like I said, it's one of those things where, like, I can't think of any other movie where there's been the death of a child and there's not at least carried a little bit of emotional weight, even if it's not been well done. But this one was just like,
Meh.
yeah, it's meh, like more of an eye roll, and it's like, okay, I'm just not buying it.
Should listen to your dad. He said not to do that.
Yep.
And that's what you get. You die.
That'll teach you. I'm going to show that movie to my kid, but that's what happens. Every time you disobey me, you die.
Like, but I've disobeyed you 5 times a day and I haven't died.
That's what you think. But that, and then also the speech that Mystique gave to him to convince him to stop killing everybody. Again, I just didn't get it. I know that the gist of it was, oh, you've got more family and it's us. But it just seemed like it was so short and very shallow, and I didn't buy it, and I just don't understand how Charles talking to him couldn't convince him, but she could, and then all of a sudden he's just like, okay, fine.
Here's the thing. I'm a fan of Jennifer Lawrence in general. Like, I appreciate her for reasons, but...
Her and Olivia Munn?
Her and Olivia Munn for reasons. But, man, it felt like, oh, we have to put her in so much and make her such a prominent role. And then that scene at the end where she's drill sergeant for all of the recruits at the whatever Xavier school. I was like, seriously? Like,
here's the deal with her.
So lame.
I
like her, and I like Mystique in general.
I like her a lot as well. And granted, X-Men 1 and X2 are timeline-wise not probably part of this universe anymore because of Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this anyways. Mystique in the comics and in those first movies was a straight-up villain. There was no redeeming quality about her.
In the movies, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
the comics, she's gone back and forth.
Okay, gotcha. But it's just, in the movies, it seems like she's just a straight-up villain. She has no problem killing people, and, I mean, she's serving mutants. And so I keep waiting for them to actually get her to that point. Because, honestly, if you've got a great actress like Jennifer Lawrence, you could create a great story that really explains how she solidifies herself in the villain role.
Yeah.
And I would like to see that, because now they've got her training the X-Men. It's like, all right, you can only make her be a good person for so much longer before she needs to go evil.
Well, and also there's all these points throughout the movie. I'm like, I know on one side this is a different timeline. Like, this does not line up with the original trilogy or any of that stuff. But there's all these times where I'm like, so you're saying all these things happened, and then when you met him in this other movie, you're like, oh, who are you?
Yeah.
It's just like, they get a pass because of time travel and all that stuff. But man, I was like, these characters have changed so wide. Like, the changes in their lives have been so great just because of this, Days of Future Past event.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, there was, the movie happened and obviously changed the timeline. So I am, in my mind, I can, rectify those 2 points and think that, okay, for me, the viewing order has to be X-Men 1, X2, and then...
You skipping 3?
X3 if you have to. Hey, you got to see X3 because it sets up a couple things. The first Wolverine and the Wolverine, and then let's see, I guess you'd be First Class and then Days of Future Past. Because once you hit Days of Future Past, basically everything that has happened up until that point, you can't necessarily consider canon, or, you have to take it with a grain of salt because it may not have happened that way. For example, Jean and Logan met in this movie. And in the first X-Men movie, they played it up like they were meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe Logan doesn't remember her, but she would definitely remember the guy with the claws that she unlocked the memory for.
Right. And again, I'm fine with all that, but because of Days of Future Past,
right.
The last thing I want for them to do now is to try and clean it up.
Well, and also Logan escaped in a whole different circumstance in X-Men Origins Wolverine, if we would have to count that movie.
Yeah.
He escaped the Weapon X program in a whole different circumstance. Yeah. But once again, we're nitpicking something that has been cobbled together over a long period of time with a bunch of different people running the show for these movies.
So, speaking of Wolverine, Easter egg are crammed in there.
Oh, Wolverine?
Yeah.
I don't think Easter egg, because we knew it was coming from the trailer. And I feel like I feel like it made sense since they went to the Weapon X program and they were dealing with Stryker.
Yeah.
So okay, so Wolverine's there. That kind of can make sense. But I feel like it was way too convenient that, right when everything blows up, Stryker was close enough with that big of a strike force to come and take control over all of those people, knock them all out, had the weapon to knock all of those mutants out, and get the couple people that we want to have play a part in this movie.
Yeah.
That whole thing was really convenient to put together. And then, okay, so it's Stryker, so he's going to take him back, and we're going to get the chance to see Wolverine in this movie for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I felt like leading up to it was the part I had more of a problem with, of this is too convenient. Once you're there, once you're at the Weapon X program and you've got Stryker and all this other stuff, it's
might as well.
Duh, Wolverine's going to be there.
Well, and it was cool to see him as Weapon X and to see the machinery on him and that kind of stuff, because we've never really seen that visual before in the movies. Speaking of the mansion blowing up, no emotional impact at all for Havoc dying.
Yeah, I can care less about Havoc.
Didn't even know he had died. I thought maybe he did, but I wasn't sure. And then they're like, "Wait, where's Havoc?" And Quicksilver's like, "I'm pretty sure I got everybody." And it's like,
he's closest to the explosion.
Nah, he's dead.
And why blowing up a plane blows up the entire mansion?
It looked like it didn't hit the plane, but it hit some kind of fuel cell, maybe.
Still, that was like a gigantic ass explosion. Yeah. What are you doing keeping whatever that was underneath all these kids?
A gigantic ass explosion?
Actually, that was the mutant they also didn't say. It was Ass Exploder.
Ass Exploder.
But man. Yeah, no, that, it was a cool opportunity to see Quicksilver do his thing, but it went on way too long. It's like, I get it, you're saving everybody. But man, there were so many scenes that I felt like went on too long, and too many slow-mo scenes. This movie could have probably shaved 30 minutes if we had, cut some scenes down a little bit, and maybe didn't do so much slow-mo.
Yeah. Well, and talking about Quicksilver, you've got Apocalypse getting into Charles's head when he's in Cerebro, and then them trying to escape from that. Then Apocalypse shows up with the Horsemen, and they kidnap Charles, and then Havoc, shoots a thing that explodes, and then you've got this high intensity action happening and this tension, and then just like that, you've got I can't remember what song they were playing for Quicksilver, but again, they did the same thing they did in the last one, where it's this speedy montage thing with him listening to a song from that time period, which is fine, but just tonally, it was too jarring to make that switch that quickly.
Right. I felt like maybe a little bit out of place, but it worked because that's kind of his character's thing. That was his shtick from the first one. It was like, oh, look, he's, laissez-faire and just running around and doing his thing amidst this explosion because he's so fast he didn't have to worry about it. But it just went on way too long.
I felt like it worked a lot better in Days of Future Past, because it's like it was the heist part, and so it's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more lighthearted, whereas it's like, oh, your professor got kidnapped and he blew up the whole school that has all the people in it.
Look, the bad guy's winning.
Yeah. Let's play a song. I'm gonna run around. I got bubble gum.
Yeah, I feel like where this is gonna line up in the X-Men movies for me, the third one was what?
Last Stand.
Last Stand
Mhm.
is going to be behind it, so it's better than that one.
Yeah. Better than X-Men Origins Wolverine in my book.
Oh yeah. And there were things I liked about X-Men Origins Wolverine, but overall that I did not like that movie.
They had the best Deadpool. Got you.
Oh, internet, let him know how you feel. Yeah, I don't know. It might be just in front of those two. I'm trying to remember how much I liked the X-Men X2, like whichever one that one was.
Yep. I liked it. It was pretty good.
It was all right. I mean, in a certain way, because they're all X-Men movies, I liked them all.
Yeah.
For different reasons, but it might be only third from the bottom.
Yeah.
Or fourth. There might be one of them that could maybe slide in under there.
Yeah. And I can think all the other ones I liked better than this one.
Yeah. Well, I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
So maybe after like a couple viewings, like, you know, my opinion will swift swing in a direction, but for now that's where it is.
Yep. No Deadpool in this movie.
No Deadpool.
Unfortunately.
I know.
Which is good. Let's keep keep his name away from this mess.
Yeah, so then he can survive the transition to the MCU.
Well, the good thing is I think that if they get the X-Men, I think they get Deadpool too.
Yeah. No, that's the whole package deal.
Yeah. But, you know,
what were they alluding to there at the end? So, final scene. We'll end with this, the post-credit scene.
Yep.
Talk about that.
So, you want me to sum it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so they cut back to Alkaline Lake where the Weapon X program was, and these agents are coming in to basically clean up the mess from all the people that Wolverine killed. And they open up the secret hatch and find this vial that for some reason he needs to like turn and like look at an angle.
Double check I got the right one.
Big old label that says Weapon X DNA. So
not blood, but DNA.
DNA.
This is a special extraction. It's a totally different material.
We can just suck out the DNA. Leave the blood in there. And then he opens up the briefcase and puts it next to some other colored vials, which are all different colors, and then closes it up, and it, you know, stops on the logo of the briefcase, which says Essex Corporation. One, I do not know what the Essex Corporation is. Maybe you do.
It sounds familiar, but you know me and names.
Yep.
And I'm not the best.
That's true.
But I'm wondering, because I definitely haven't been reading in more recent years, and I know that Wolverine has been cloned into a female version of himself.
X-23, I think is what she's called.
Right. And so I'm wondering if it's related to that.
Yeah.
Because why else would they be grabbing his DNA?
I don't know if they've confirmed it, but there's at the very least a heavy rumor that his clone will be in the third Wolverine movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Which they've also confirmed to be rated R.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, he like threw down this time. Like it was violent.
I was kind of close there. I was like, what's this rated?
Yeah, I was like happy with that because I mean, dude, he's a violent character.
Yeah, right. It makes sense for him. Like they're not pushing it all to make him a rated R superhero. So
right.
I was kind of glad for that. Which the Wolverine, which I think is still one of the greatest X-Men movies they've done so far. That was a really great movie, and that was pretty violent.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Cool.
So yeah, a little disappointing. It sucks because this is the last good superhero movie we're gonna have until Suicide Squad comes out. We've had Deadpool, Batman v Superman, Civil War, and then now X-Men Apocalypse. So the only thing we've got left this year for superhero wise is
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Suicide Squad, and Doctor Strange. So those are the two we have coming up.
But dude, if you think about this. You just named 6 movies this year.
I know. I can't complain.
It's so amazing, dude.
And there's a Star Wars movie coming this year.
Right? Like, dude, it is amazing that the stuff we're getting now, like, for people like us, you know, geeks, nerds, whatever you want to call it, the movies that we're getting that are catering to the things we love, it's awesome.
And there's even more next year. Ghostbusters. I forgot about Ghostbusters.
Yes, as you should. Although they are redoing the original Ghostbusters in theaters, you're going to be able to go watch a good Ghostbusters movie this year also.
The best trailer I saw was the one for the original Ghostbusters that they showed. So I was like, I want to go see that movie. What's this other crap?
Yeah, and a sneak peek up. Click.
I'm good.
Anyway, all right. I will say the new trailer for the new Ghostbusters is at least better than the previous trailer.
Can't be worse.
It still has problems. Like, I still have problems with the things that I'm seeing that are going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's at least a better trailer because that was just a shit trailer. The first one they put out.
In this trailer, I feel like they showed too much.
Oh. That when I looked over you, I don't know if you.
I
caught
knew
that.
exactly why you were looking at me.
I'm like, are they going to leave anything to when I'm watching it in the theater? Because I will go see that movie. I'm going to give it a chance. But shit.
Nope.
They've there's probably even more trailers that are going to come out for it because they got to build up hype. They got to try to get people in the theaters.
Yeah, because it comes out in July, so maybe one more trailer.
Anyway,
but oh well.
Hey Wes, what's this?
Hey, look, it's a business card with our ugly cartoon mugs on it.
Listen. If there's anything we've learned, success on the internet is all hinged on having a business card.
If you don't have a business card, how are you supposed to let people know where to find you?
Wes went to the trouble to getting these, ordering them through Vistaprint. They don't sponsor us by any means, but hey, you know what? If you work for Vistaprint and you want to sponsor us, then we would love that.
Yep.
But he ordered these things up, and we used our little graphic put together. We even have a little QR code on the back. Not that matters to you because you already know about us if you're listening or watching, but it's kind of fun to have a thing to now be able to, I talk about our show to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And now I have a thing I can give them like, hey, come check us out.
Yep. You can give them those things. And if you are somebody who found our business card, that means that you shop at either Parker, Banner, Kent, and Wayne or Heroes Aren't Hard to Find, which are 2 local comic shops that our cards are now at.
One in Charlotte, one in Cornelius, both in North Carolina.
Yep. If you found one there, drop us a line, let us know that you picked up the card and what you think of the show and what your comments are. As long as they're positive. If they're negative, you can shut the hell up.
Well, and also, it's really important to me. I know it's important to us too. Supporting your local businesses, like your local comic book stores, and it's comic books for him. It's games for me. They are where I primarily buy RPG games and board games, card games, stuff like that. Supporting these local stores is really important because if we don't, they're going to go away, and our only option is going to be Amazon. Sure, you can get a good deal on Amazon, but it doesn't have the community, and it's not a place to go play. Like, if I want to play a game, I can't go to Amazon and sit down around a table with a bunch of other folks and that are, like-minded, like games like I do. So support your local business. If you found one of our cards at one of those.
Yeah, great people at both of them. I've had lots of really cool spontaneous conversations with just people that are there shopping, some of the people that work there and stuff. So really good community to be a part of. There's a really great geek culture around here that's awesome to be a part of. So shout out to those 2 people. Good job. Keep doing what you're doing.
Cool. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and sign off. This is Chad. That's Wes.
Oh, hi.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
This has been Chad and Wess Ruin a Movie. Don't forget you can email us at chadandwess@gmail.com or visit our website at chadandwess.com. Follow us on SoundCloud and subscribe on iTunes if you like. You can also leave us a review. See you next time.